So today I'm going to show you how to build your own paintball watch. Okay, this is something that I've built for a lot of my guys at Living Legends 7. So you see Josh has got one, Richard Rangel, Ryan Cook, Chibs, all the guys that I had underneath me, and I built one for Wolf, built one for Tommy Long. So I built this for all my guys at Legends, one for Willie, and a lot of people have seen these out there on the scenario field and out there on the paintball field by these guys, and I've gotten a lot of messages on how do you build one for yourself. Okay, well, what exactly is a paintball watch? It's just something I've kind of made up. Basically, nowadays, you've got these new, you've got the elbow pads now that have the wrist pads, so let's go ahead and put this on. This is just the Exalt one. This is actually pretty thin compared to the other ones. And you've got the jerseys nowadays that have the wrist and the forearm and extra padding built into them as well, like this HK jersey. Okay, so obviously, as you can see here, a standard watch, which this is a standard watch, does not fit on this, and it's also uncomfortable if you put it underneath. Okay, as you can see, we're probably 4 inches short from this thing going all the way around, so it obviously isn't going to work. Now, you could probably put this underneath here, but now you're going to have to peel all this stuff back every time you want to try to see what time it is. It's going to scratch you up, and it's just really, really inconvenient. I have something that I've been working on for quite a while, and I finally got it down. It took me a long time of doing research because nobody makes super long watch bands. At least that I've seen, and I came up with something here, and I think if you build this, it's just awesome because you can fit it over your elbow pads, fit it over your jersey, and especially if you're playing, if you're playing scenario paintball, or even if you're playing tournament paintball, at least you know what time it is. It's pretty, not necessarily dangerous, but you don't want to have your phone in your pocket when you're out there playing. If you slide on or something like that, you're going to end up breaking your $700 phone. Anyway, let's talk about the strap that I use. The strap that I use, and I'm going to put the description or the link in down below, is called Maratac Nitrox 17 Extreme. This is a strap that is designed for divers. It's an extremely long watch strap. It's okay. It's made of nylon, so you can cut it if it's too long. And and it comes in 2 different widths, and we'll talk about how important that is. It comes in a 22mm width and a 20mm width. Now, when you go to choose your watch, Amazon, in my opinion, has one of the best ways of seeing whether or not your watch is going to work with this. Down in the specifications of the watch, it'll tell you your strap width of the watch itself. So it'll say if it's a 22mm strap or a 20mm or 24mm. Most watches that are on the market have a smaller strap width. They're going to be between 14 to 18mm. Those are not going to work. What's going to end up happening is just the strap is just not going to fit between the little tangs here, where where you need to run the strap through. So you want to get a watch that is the stock strap diameter needs to be 2mm wider than this. So if you go with a 20mm Nitrox 17 strap, you want to go with a 22mm watch. Okay, and same thing the other way around. If it's a 22mm strap that you purchase, you want to go with a 24mm width here. It's going to make sliding it in so much more, and if you don't do this, what ends up happening is your strap's going to bunch up as you go in there, and it could pop the pin out while you're out there playing. So I do have one of my other watches here. This is the Casio. Now, a lot of people are going to ask, well, what about the G-Shocks? Well, the G-Shocks don't really work that well because the G-Shock actually has a very, very thin strap on here. You have to get these adapters, but the adapters don't really work that well without you cutting the strap. So you can use a G-Shock. It's an additional expense. They do sometimes sell these little G-Shock adapters. They're about $20, and so you have to buy the G-Shock adapters in order for it to work with the Nitrox 17 strap. There's quite a few other watches out there that work just as good. Timex works really good. I've got this one right here. It's a Breda. They sell these on Amazon for really, really cheap. It's like, I don't know, maybe $15, $20 watch, so it's not that expensive. I'm going to bring the camera in really quick. I'm going to remove the pins on this, put this strap on, and then show you what the finished product looks like. Okay, so now what I've got here is the three watches here. This is the Bravado watch. It's a cheap watch you can get on Amazon, but the watch bands are nice and wide on these, so it's a relatively cheap watch. Timex also works. Here's the Casio. Now, and a lot of people really like the G-Shocks. I do too. As you can see, these are the adapters that go on the sides. The only problem with them is it does tend to puff the watch out a little bit. So the watch is more likely to get scraped up and stuff like that. Atomic time isn't 100% needed when you're out there. I have seen the games go anywhere between 30 seconds to 3-4 minutes after the actual game time is supposed to start. So it's not 100% crucially important, but you can, there is apps for your phone, and your phone time is actually relatively close, usually within 1 or 2 seconds of the atomic time. So you can get a non-atomic watch and set it to your phone time, and you're going to be within 1 or 2 seconds, and that's more than acceptable for paintball. Now, you can take a razor blade and try to pick out the watch pins here. The only problem with that is that if the watch pin goes flying, now you need to order more watch pins right here, strap pins, so they don't go flying. So typically, I just prefer to just cut them off. I'm never going to wear this watch as a standard watch anyway once I put it on here, and so I just prefer just to cut the old strap right off using the razor blade, and it's just going to make life so much better. If I had any interest of turning this back into a standard watch to wear, I would. I've already got other watches. This one's going to be a dedicated paintball watch, and so I'm not really going to lose much sleep about ruining these watch straps. Watch straps are really cheap, so it's not that big of a deal. Probably more expensive than or probably less expensive than the pins if you actually lost them. Okay, so we've got our strap here. We're just going to run the this watch had 22 millimeter they had a 22 millimeter band, and this is a 20 millimeter strap. It comes in both black and orange. I kind of like the way the orange looks. This way, if it ever pops off or you lose it somewhere out there on the field, you can very easily go and retrieve it, because this orange is really bright. Plus, it gets a lot of attention too. People wonder what you got and stuff. So here we go. All right. So now, as you can see, that's a nice flush watch. That came out really nice. That looks great. And what we'll do now is let's go ahead and put on the elbow pad. Okay, so I got the Exalt elbow pad. Now I'm going to put on the jersey really quick. I'm actually just going to stick my arm through, make it a little bit easier. Okay, so now I got the jersey. So as you can see, this HK jersey, it's got a lot of padding around the wrist. This wrist cuff, I mean, that's quite a bit of padding right there. So let's go ahead and put on this watch. And I'm going to show you how I like to run the extra strap. Okay. Now, you do have the excess strap material here. So you can do one of two different things here. You can either cut it, or you can just kind of re-loop it back through. You can re-loop it right back through here. And you're still going to have a little bit of excess, and you can snip it. Or sometimes, sometimes what you could also do is maybe get one of those little strap retainers and put it down here. So there's nothing wrong with cutting this. You're not going to necessarily need to get any wider than this. And also, this fits really nice on motorcycle jackets too. So this is really neat. I think getting this is going to really be a lifesaver, especially when you're out there on the field. You need to know what time it is. It's really durable. It's not anything you're going to have to worry about. Like I said, you want to get a cheap watch. So that way, if it gets scratched up, you bang it on a tree, or when you're out there playing X-ball, it's not really that big of a deal. But hopefully this helps you guys if you guys want to make your own paintball watch. Hopefully this helps you guys get started on making one. It's a really, really neat thing to have. Thanks for tuning in.